So the VTuber Seiyu, formerly known as Zaion, was in the news yesterday because she was talking about her time at Nijisanji. Now, I have no idea what exactly happened, but she was speaking her truth and stuff like that. And people in the comments of that video recommended I check out False ID'd and Depressed No Saji's videos on what happened. I do enjoy False ID's little summarizations. So let's go ahead and watch this video, and I'll decide whether I want to watch the Press Nosaji's or not, because his was an hour long.
Episode 500 of Things VTubers Say. As today, once again, we return to talking about Nijisanji. Specifically, Nijisanji English, the VTuber agency that once counted Zaion LanZa as a part of their roster. But as you may recall, back on February 8th of this year, had placed her on a temporary suspension.
So all this happened this year? Bro, I literally just missed this.
At that time,
literally just missed
it. Reasons. And then a month later, on March 10th, issuing out this notice of her termination alongside 12 reasons as to why they made that decision, also all bullet pointed.
Let me read this. Using copyrighted songs in a stream without prior authorization, revealing internal information that could potentially cause issues to stakeholders, making statements that could lead to speculation or leaking of internal information, offensive remarks regarding discrimination and sexual assault, several infringements of the rules, expressing her will to perform streams using illegal games. Also learned that's pirated games. Comments that can be considered offensive, blah, blah, give false sense of me. Okay, man, a lot of these honestly seem like regurgitations of the same exact thing. Just like, I feel like these could have been like, instead of how many of this, like 8 or 9, this could have been literally like 5
reasons as to why they made that decision, also all bullet pointed. Later that same day, we would hear from her fellow ex-wave mates taking to stream one after another like a non-stop drip feed, beginning with Kodaka Torihime, then Meliko Kyoran, further Hex Haywire, and lastly later that day, Vermilion, the only one of that wave, that being Ex-Soleil, who did not talk on the matter, was Doppio Dropside. But days later, another Nijisanji English talent, Finata Ryagu, would also talk on the matter unprompted during an entirely different stream of her own.
Unprompted? Holy shit.
But now, finally, 2 months later, we have properly heard from Zaion LanZa herself, but not from her Nijisanji account, oh no, but instead from her prior life account. As before her time in Nijisanji, she was known as Sayu Akami, who very much specialized in Genshin Impact streams, prior having streamed 1,684 hours.
Bro, that game used to be so dope, and then I don't know, it just got boring.
Of this single game. And now at 10:56 p.m. Eastern, 7:56 p.m. Pacific, on a Friday night, this ex-Nijisanji talent would take to Twitter to give us one girl's story, then linking to this twitlonger that then linked to a Google document. The twitlonger beginning with, "Hello, regardless if you knew me or not, I am and always will be Sayu." Even though in the past hour she has changed her name on Twitter, this ex-Nijisanji talent then began to speak in third person, or at least alluding to her Nijisanji self with, "I wish to tell the story of a girl named Zaion who has made mistakes, was shamed online, struggled with mental illness, and simply wished to belong somewhere." Stating further, this entire document's purpose is to give context to what happened, not to make excuses for Zaion's mistakes or to encourage harassment of any kind to any party involved. Zaion does not absolve herself of the mistakes she did make and wishes to apologize to her community and those who were truly her friends behind the curtains for letting them down in any way. Several things are omitted for legal reasons. Please also understand that taking screenshots and keeping receipts was not something Zaion ever kept in her mind until things really started to go south, and not with the intention to attack the company or anyone in it. The Google document does have a lengthy introduction that we'll get to in just a moment. But skipping ahead.
So when she created this, was she still Zaion?
We did want to address this point. Here on page 11, it says, "I'd like to preface this by saying I do not want any third parties to use what I'm about to reveal or twist my words in any way to damage the reputation of Nijisanji or its livers." And of course, that's just fine by us, as we'll essentially just be reading this verbatim while providing context when we can. The document begins saying several of the allegations written on her termination were due in part to the differences in cultural background between between Nijisanji, an agency based in Japan, and Zaion, a streamer catering to a global audience. None of her VODs were privated by her decision. She did not believe in hiding her mistakes in this way and always wished to own up to them. Thus, this document's purpose. Once the news of the temporary suspension was made on February 8th, clips were then shared of Zaion making jokes about Shotas, with many believing that this Nijisanji liver was self-identifying as a Shotokan. The document continues with, on the Shotokan topic, this was a long-running joke stemming from before she was Zaion, coming from her origins as mainly a Genshin Impact streamer. Those who do not play Genshin, that would be me, and maybe only me, wouldn't know this. But in the game, several of the meta units were characters that had the appearance of young boys. They were mostly expressed to be quite old, such as one being several thousand.
Shotokan, abbreviation of Shoto complex, is a Japanese context, the attraction to young boy characters or media centered around affection. Wait, what? So is it like the girl version of like liking lollies? It's like you like little boys instead of little girls?
Years old, another being 18 plus, and the ones that were 17, regarding them, Zaion has never made any sort of implication towards them. This document clarifying further.
I'm not gonna lie at all. Like, this honestly just sounds super stupid. Like, bro, she's talking about video game characters. Like, okay, sure. They're not real. They're video game characters. But yeah, I get it. She does work for a corporation. She definitely shouldn't make these jokes when working for a corporation. But overall, I would say whatever. It's Genshin Impact. Who cares?
At all attracted to them in any sexual way and is appalled at the idea. Nijisanji also never brought this up as an issue throughout the course of her employment. So once again, Nijisanji English never brought up the issue of Shotas. The document also makes clear that Zaion agreed that separating would be the best for both sides, but the parties were not able to reach an agreement on a joint statement. While attempting to argue for a more peaceful narrative than the termination statement Nijisanji wished to make, Zaion did get written confirmation that Nijisanji had no intention at the time to cut off or discourage her from interacting with or remaining friends with other Nijisanji livers. She also confirmed that Nijisanji would not avoid commissioning or working with any creators that work with her in the future. This image then being linked, apparently being from an individual from Nijisanji, stating regarding interaction with Nijisanji livers, we would not stop or forbid you in this, and for creators who will work with you in the future, we will not avoid to commission with them because of that. Thank you for your understanding.
Well, that's good to hear that people aren't, like, basically they're saying they're not going to blackball her. And blackballing is basically nobody industry in whatever industry you're in will mess with you, point blank, period. Like, it is basically going to be a written rule. None of us will touch this person. So it's good that they are not going to hold that, because if somebody was to work with them, they would also get blackballed. You get it? Like, basically, if you talk to them, you're going to screw your own career over.
So once again, this content creator trying to make very clear
that Nijisanji
will not hold
pretty
a
chill.
grudge against those who will
just
interact
firing
with
you,
her,
and that's
even
it.
if they are still within Nijisanji. The document then takes a very major turn, talking about the topic regarding the harassment and doxing of Zaion, stating she has been doxed down to a home address, name, and face by those expressing malicious intent. And this being
whoever did that, you're a loser. Point blank, period.
The primary reason why we have, up until this very moment, not talked about this particular Ex-Nijisanji talent's prior life, as within the hour of this termination notice, so-called Nijisanji fans immediately began doxing this ex-talent. And we are talking full address, face reveal, everything. Those doxing tweets being spammed across numerous retweets of this notice, and with Twitter.com allowing some of those accounts to still exist. Further, it was made clearer that this was all happening.
Bro, those aren't fans, bro. Those are people that are pretending to be fans, because if your Oshi found out that you were doing this, they'd be disgusted in you. Because as easy as it was for you to dox Zaion, you're probably going to dox them too if you end up not liking them. Like, this is a slippery slope. You can't just be like, oh, okay, it's okay for you to dox this person and not dox this person. Like, if you're cool with doxing, that means you have to be cool with all of it. And if you're against doxing, like I am, you have to be against all of it. No, okay, let's dox this person because they're a POS. Like, no, because then the goalpost of POS constantly moves and moves and moves. And then it turns, oh, this person said a word I didn't like, let's dox them. Versus somebody that's an actual criminal. Like, I would say, sure, actual criminals, dox them. That sounds good. But because people will constantly move the goalposts, I am forced to say, you can't dox anybody, no matter how bad they are. What you need to do is file a police report if they're actually committing a crime and let the police figure that shit out.
Even before the termination, with the document stating this happened right after her indefinite suspension on February 9th, and Nijisanji did not communicate that it would take action against the doxers. There is substantial video and written proof of threats, including death and swatting. However, links will be
the only thing they could do is call the police. Like, that's literally it.
Admitted for legal reasonings. The document makes a point to remind us all that back in December of 2022, Nijisanji released a statement declaring their efforts against doxing and harassment. Despite that announcement, Nijisanji did not inform Zaion that it would be taking action against the spread of personally identifying information of her, including also defamatory misinformation and daily harassment, all while she was suspended as an active liver. Zaion saying, I admit I did not understand exactly what victims of harassment went through, how mentally and sometimes physically damaging it is, and how hard it is to get any kind of help against it. Personally, I'm grateful for this experience so I can properly understand and empathize with others regarding this type of treatment. And now we have the second portion of this document, statements and allegations, going one by one across all 12 of the bullet points that Nijisanji presented in the termination notice. The first reason that Nijisanji gave was using a copyrighted song in her stream without prior authorization. Zaion saying the vague usage of copyright infringement claimed here by Nijisanji is actually referring to a December 18th, 2022 stream when Zaion chose to play the first cover song release of one of her gen mates on stream to support them by showing her own fan base.
Okay, so I'm glad I waited for this because using copyrighted song in her stream without prior authorization, like, that could mean anything from like streaming Lil Wayne and they didn't get permission to stream Lil Wayne, or this, which is definitely worse, to leak a song. Basically, like, even though it's just a snippet, like, it is a leak. You are leaking the song for a good reason, right? To build up anticipation for the full song release. But you do gotta ask for permission to do that. Like, even if you ask the person, whoever, like, let's say it's Kodaka's song. Even if you ask Kodaka, it's not just her say so, because you guys both are under the umbrella of Nijisanji. You'd have to ask management. You'd have to. This is, even though this is Kodaka's song, like, in theory, this is Kodaka's song, you gotta ask somebody bigger than just Kodaka. Because it's not just Kodaka that says, okay, let's release the song. It goes through many different signatures.
So once again, this is a copyright regarding a cover song that one of her gen mates had just produced. Zaion was not aware that this was considered a breach of copyright and was corrected by staff and told to request specific permission for this in the future.
You have to. You have to do that. Like, yeah, it's Nijisanji music, right? Like, even if it was Zaion's own song that she was leaking, you can't just do that. It wouldn't be as bad if Zaion was leaking like a snippet of her own song. But to leak somebody else's, even if you had their permission, like I said, it's not enough, bro. You need to ask. Whenever you're in a corporate, you got to ask people for permission to do anything. That's how it works.
Agree to this and apologize thusly for her mistake.
And that's fine. It was a mistake. Whatever. Apologize. Okay. Well, there it is.
On her
Don't do it again.
As once again evidenced in the official termination notice, and was also one of the reasons for her first suspension during New Year's that we'll refer to as the
first suspension.
New Year's suspension. So yeah, just to back up for just a moment.
Damn.
This particular
How many times she gets suspended?
They were going on a break. This all occurring around the New Year's time of the year. But as Nijisanji had admitted for the first time ever in their termination notice, this was actually a suspension, saying in order for Zaion to reflect on her actions, we suspended her streaming activities in January 2020.
They basically came out and said it like, yeah, she's in timeout. Okay. All right.
At that time,
Okay.
confirming that yes, Nijisanji does issue stealth suspensions, now leading to massive speculation about any break of any Nijisanji talent, whether it is legitimate or actually a suspension. And now, the second point, revealing internal information that can potentially cause issues for stakeholders during her stream.
Now this sounds like some absolute BS, man. Like everything they do, let's be real, anything a liver does can put the stakeholders' money at risk, bro. If anyone makes a type of joke the wrong way, like we've literally seen that specifically with these. If anyone makes the wrong type of joke, if anyone does something bad, like, yeah, but that's the risk that you take whenever you are a stakeholder or an investor. Your stake will go up or go down. There's no way for it to constantly go up, even if you were like a goody perfect. It's just not possible. They're humans.
This statement refers to the instance in Zaion's last Good Job stream, where she spoke about permissions regarding playing Hogwarts Legacy on stream. And yes, this document actually links to backed up archives of Zaion streams. Let's go ahead and see if we can take a listen.
Did I reconfirm Hogwarts perms? No, unfortunately. Well, I mean, we did have them, but the thing is with like all the controversy stuff, it's a little bit risky to play. I personally actually don't care, but no, not for everyone else, right? Like, I don't want to like drag down like, you know, the company and whatever else. Like, just because I don't care, I don't want to drag everyone else down with me. So I'm like kind of forced to wait, which is fine. I get them wanting to wait and see. Maybe we can see if it's not too bad, but you know, until we see.
The alleged
Bro, that's very considerate and very like not malicious at all. She literally just said, "Hey, we can't do it because yada yada. Personally, I don't care, but I don't want other people to get in trouble because of me playing that game." I see nothing wrong with that.
The mistake here was that Zaion stated that they did have permission to play the game at some point. Zaion spoke.
I mean, at this point, I think they're grasping for straws to give reasons why they should get rid of her, because this one, like at face value, and even if you look deeper than that, like, yeah, saying, "Hey, I got permission, I could play this game, but now I don't have permission anymore." Like, okay. Like, yeah, you gave them permission, and I'm like, come on, bro. Like, if any game comes out, like Call of Duty, let's say Call of Duty's coming out and they got permission to stream Call of Duty, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna stream Call of Duty," and then they're like, "Oh no, you can't stream Call of Duty because they like killed some children in the game," and it's like, okay, we can't stream it anymore. Like, what are you gonna do then? Like, they already said, like, hey, like, so that's probably why they don't even talk about games that they're planning on streaming.
Spoke about this like any other game they
This
had
is
gotten
like
confirmed permissions on that was a publicly released game.
That's
and
crazy.
This was after staff requested that Ian not play the game.
Play the game. So yeah, and then somebody asked, "Hey, are you guys gonna play it?" And she said no.
We have it, full confirmation that Nijisanji had requested of their talents not to play Hogwarts Legacy, or at least those in Nijisanji English to our knowledge here. Zaion recognized that the controversy around the game is
Did somebody else in Nijisanji play this game? Yes or no?
is a difficult topic. Oh, yes, it is. As here now, we have the third point. Making statements that could lead to speculation or leaking of internal information using social media accounts that she personally operates during her activity suspension time. This is referring to two instances. First, as Zaion was forcefully locked out of all of her accounts during her second suspension. She resorted to using her past life, prior life Twitter account.
This one I can't even defend, bro. Look, man, like I said, when you work for a company, you sign your soul away. So whenever they lock you out of your account, that basically means, hey, I probably shouldn't be tweeting some shit. And if you do want to tweet some shit on the low, you don't go back to your original account. You literally use a burner. You use a brand new account with the fucking whatever. I don't even think they have an egg emote because it's not Twitter anymore. But the default, you use that and you say that stuff. Yes, you're going to be talking to nobody, but hey, at least you got the message out, bro. Just use the hashtag or something. Like, come on, bro.
Once again, that is the
You
account
self-snitching.
that has posted this document.
She snitched
did
on
make the
herself doing
mistake
this.
of liking a random reply that she was browsing through and
How do you accidentally like her? Nah, because you read it and then you click the button. And if you accidentally click the button, then you unclick it. Ain't no accidentally liking shit.
did unlike it after realizing her
Okay, so she unliked it then. All right. Well, did she unlike it like instantly, or was this like later when she got called out?
mistake. It was not her intention to bring attention nor imply anything, but the mistake was made. Zaion did apologize profusely to staff and explained her mistake.
Bro.
For context, we do know her past life, prior life account did like this particular comic with
What it say? Dark Humor Club. If you don't like it, watch the stream of the other 30
her engaging in a dark humor club and alluding to those outside of this club being toxic snowflakes. Second, this also refers to Zaion's previously
So basically, she was poking the fan base.
owned Discord servers admin. Once again, gonna read that again for you. Zaion's previously owned Discord servers admin making a post about how production for mouse pads that were owed to previous subathon supporters were finally being made. No intention to sell these as merchandise products was ever emphasized. However, this could have been perceived as her planning to leave the company and hinting fans at doing so. Zaion did explain the situation in a voice call to staff. However, after claiming that they would, quote, check the facts for each of these instances, they still
Check the facts,
listed
baby.
on her termination letter, quote, showing absolutely no signs of remorse for her behavior. Zaion then actually provides an excerpt of the cancellation notice, this being reasonings provided to her from Nijisanji for the in full termination. This part states,
Someone said management spying within other Discord servers. Yeah, duh. That's her job. Management is supposed to watch their talent. That's what they're supposed to do. Yes, of course. Yeah, they signed their life to a company. Expect the company to go in your private life here and there and check on you and make sure you're not doing anything dumb.
however, on February 9th of the same year, immediately after your suspension with your past life Twitter account, which is prohibited to use. That part is important later.
Isn't that part of your
quote-unquote
contract?
liked a tweet mocking the fans who were angry at your
Basically.
inappropriate behavior as a virtual liver. And you made an announcement through the admin on your past life Discord server that the production of your past life activity merchandising had resumed.
Bro, that's just... I'm just saying, bro, like, this does not sound good at all. This literally sounds like, hey, I might get kicked out. Hey, we got merch on the way.
Absolutely no signs of
Like,
remorse.
she didn't say she was selling it. She just said, hey, we back in production. But hey, that's enough, bro.
For your behavior.
That's a whistle.
So once again, in review on this third point, liking a tweet mocking fans that are angry at you on a past life account is an instance of showing absolutely no signs of remorse, as per Nijisanji.
Of course.
And once again, a full confirmation that using a past life Twitter
But-
account is
I mean, a lack of remorse maybe is a bit deep. Maybe she is venting her frustrations because she did just get suspended. So I could see why she'd be upset. But I definitely wouldn't have liked the tweet, especially on my old account. I would have made a burner, bro. I would have made like 3 burners.
prohibited to use, even though once again we have numerous instances and knowledge that current Nijisanji talents in EN and in the main branch absolutely use prior life accounts and alternate accounts on Twitter. And oh,
Well, I'm not surprised if they use alternate accounts like that. Literally everybody that's famous use an alternate account. Everybody that's famous uses an alternate account. So yeah, but that doesn't mean you go back to your past life account.
branch absolutely
That's like basically saying, hey, I know I'm not Pomu Rainpuff right now, but basically this guy's a dick. Like it's basically saying from the words of somebody in corporate whenever you use your old account, bro.
use prior life accounts and alternate accounts on Twitter. And oh boy, it's point number 4. Offensive remarks regarding discrimination and sexual assault.
Let's hear
Zion
this one.
confirming this also refers to 2 separate instances. First, on the topic regarding sexual assault, Zion felt horrible that she made this mistake. This refers to a joke made during her stream of the game The Karaoke. A lot of streamers, Zion included, turn on a the streamer mode in their brains to try and keep several-hour streams constantly lighthearted and entertaining and making a joke out of everything that goes on. Unfortunately, she forgot the situation of the space she was in and made a joke that was inappropriate. There was no malicious intent, and she takes full responsibility. Comment was not aiming to make light of sexual assault or its victims, since it could not be said at the time. Zaion apologizes for this. This particular issue also being pointed out by Hex Haywire during his stream on the matter of Zaion's termination. Hex sharing that he was previously a victim of sexual assault himself and did not find this at all funny. The document continuing on. Second, regarding any offensive remarks involving discrimination, no serious remarks were ever made towards any specific people or culture. There is one instance in Zaion's second ever live stream on December 11th where a viewer jokingly asked her if they could use the term Zionist as a fan name for her community. She clearly stated, quote, "I don't think we can do that," in response, knowing full well that it was not her place to use such a term. Unfortunately,
bro, what is all these internet terms I don't know about, bro? Am I just old? What the hell is a Zion is? What is this? Zionism, the national movement, emerged in the 19th to support the establishment of homeland of the Jewish people in Palestine. Okay, so it's about the Jewish religion or something?
Sanji characterized Zion's
I definitely wouldn't make any religious name for my fucking community. That's definitely not a good idea.
Laughter when addressing this viewer's comment as, quote, remarks mocking political or religious beliefs in her termination letter.
Hold on, let me hear what
Sanji characterized well that it was not her place to use such a I don't think we can Zionist as a fan name for her community. She clearly stated, quote, "I don't think we can do that," in response, knowing full well that it was not her place to use such a term. Unfortunately, Nijisanji characterized Zaion's nervous laughter when addressing this viewer's comment as, quote, remarks mocking political or...
I think this is another reach. If somebody in your comment section asks a crazy, like, joking question that might be serious or dark, and that is the community, like a dark, joking community, and, you know, the liver says, we can't do that. And even if they laugh or not, it's like she just said, we can't do that. So I think this is a reach.
Religious beliefs in her termination letter, even though this was not the case. Next, we have the fifth reason from Nijisanji, stating several infringements of the rules pertaining to the use of games defined by any color, including intentional infringements, and repeated false justifications given to any color regarding these infringements. Zaion saying this may be referring to several items. First, a stream on February 4th that was a Nintendo game. Zaion had many successful Nintendo streams in the past, leading up to the stream on the 4th, complying to rules, which will not be stated here. However, on the 4th of February, Zaion made a mistake. YouTube has an autofill function for its video descriptions. She used it that day and missed the adjustment of part of the description and was notified by her manager as such midstream. Her manager adjusted it for her. Zaion thanked them for that and apologized for her mistake. Okay. Second,
bro, it's a description of the fucking video. Who gives a shit, bro? And yeah, management fixed it. Congratulations, management. That's your job. Your job is to fix whatever the talent messes up. What is this? Oh, she messed up the description on YouTube. Oh no. Oh no.
Regarding the Final Fantasy XIV account in use. Simply put, Zaion made a choice that was not what was agreed on, and thus this was completely the fault of Zaion. The rumor of Zaion using mods is false. Hello. And now we have this next part clarifying what staff at Nijisanji wanted was a new character upon a new account. New accounts require
that's normal. That's totally normal and understandable. You know, past life, blah, blah, blah. Anything could happen if you have somebody come into your company using previous saved data, like in previous accounts. So like friends on your friends list might pop up and then people will message them. And then like you can get doxxed that way. Like, hey, did you know your person's famous? Wow, blah, blah, blah. Like it's basically an unnecessary risk. So for them to say, if you join our company, you got to create a new gamer tag, create a new ID and start every game you want from scratch. Honestly, that's totally reasonable, and it makes sense why they do that.
Along with subsequent story skips or level boosts to all be officially bought from the Square Enix store in order to participate in the content that Zaion had readied. No form of compensation.
Well, that's kind of shitty. So basically, like a new raid came out, and basically to play the new raid, you have to be a certain level. But if you create a new account, you're obviously not the right level or the gear or even at the right story progression to do the new content. So yeah, it is shitty, bro. And they basically said, hey, if you want to catch up, you're gonna have to spend money, and we're not reimbursing you, bro. At that point, you might as well say we're not gonna do it. Just be like, bro, we ain't doing it, bro. We not doing it.
For this,
ain't no way.
For new Genshin or other game
ain't no way, ain't no way.
Once again, to be clear, while
1,000 hours in Genshin, bro, she's most definitely spent a couple grand on the game, right? Like, I'm gonna guess at least 2K, and that's just lightly. So for you to be like, yeah, man, we know you have a Genshin character, and you're already at Inazuma, and the new expansion's coming out. But basically, you're gonna have to restart.
Prior, she was very much a Genshin Impact streamer. She also had logged 242 hours.
200 hours.
Final Fantasy 14.
I mean, 200 hours. 200 hours is a lot, but I feel like for an MMO, 200 hours is honestly not that bad. Like 200 hours, you probably are max level and stuff like that. But creating a new account, you could probably get the max level within like more than half the time, especially since you've already done the content and you know what to do.
Teen streamer Zaion at the time using a prior character, as we have been told by other sources in this Final Fantasy 14.
That's a no-no.
And while Nijisanji wanted her to use a new character on a new account,
she used her same account
compensation,
and they weren't going to pay
character or new account for either Final Fantasy 14 or Genshin Impact. Document continues. Zaion regrets that she had a poor lapse in judgment.
Bro, it's shitty that they don't buy the game. You know, it is shitty that they don't pay for their livers to get the expansions and stuff like that. Like, I feel like they should give, like, I mean, if they're getting paychecks, then there it is. You know, they're already getting paid. So maybe they should, you know, spend that paycheck towards the game and shit like that, you know. Or maybe give them an allowance for DLC and stuff like that, and they can't touch it unless it's specifically for DLC. So I would say maybe start doing that, I guess.
She chose to use a character she already had.
Yeah, you can't do
had
that.
Little to no logs. While she changed the character name and past life issues came up, she did tell her manager she would make a new character and did not. She explained this to staff and apologized for her lack of compliance.
So you lied. You changed the account name and you tried to hide the fact that you lied. Like, do I think it's right that Nijisanji won't pay for her DLC and shit? Like, yeah, it's kind of shitty, but it's like, these are the terms, and you said that, hey, I will agree to these terms. What you should have did is said, well, can I at least get an allowance so I can power level it? And if they said no, then say, okay, well, I'm going to just play a different game then. That's what I would have done.
All right, for point number 6, we have expressing her will to perform streams using illegal games, also referred to as pirated games.
Pirated games is 100% a no-no. Like, I think pirating games is whatever. I personally don't care, especially when it comes to old games that are freaking amazing, like on the PS3 generation, and will never get a remaster or a remake. And basically, by the time I turn 80, the PS3, if there's no pirates or whatever, basically if the game ain't free online, I will never get to play Armia 240th Day ever again. And that's kind of shitty because I enjoy that game. So I'm fine with pirating games as long as it's 100% like video game preservation. I love video game preservation. That shit is important to me. So like I said, it's one of those slippery slopes where you got to be fine with all of it. So with pirating, I'm totally fine with it, but I know I can see why it's illegal and why it's frowned upon. But for my personal reason, I think pirating should be in there.
Seems to be taken out of context as well. Zaion did reply to a chatter saying that she used to play ROM hacks, which is technically a pirated form of a game. She recognized in retrospect that ROM hacks are technically piracy. It was a violation of company policy. By the way...
Wait. It seems to taken out of context. Zaion did reply to a chatter saying that she used to play it. She used to play it. I feel like if you say you used to do illegal shit, I mean... you probably shouldn't do that, but at the same time, it's like, whatever. Like, okay, you used to play fucking fake Mario on the PC like 2 years ago. Okay, who cares? What's that got to do with Zion?
ROM hacks are technically piracy. It was a violation of company policy. By the way, things Vtuber say
Unless she streamed a ROM hack, I feel like this is a reach.
does not agree with that statement that ROM hacks are technically piracy, as
What is a ROM hack?
there is actually legal precedent to the otherwise.
Oh, there's legal precedent. Oh, well, if there's legal precedent, then it's not illegal. Then basically this is a reach.
Document continues to say, Zion recognizes that piracy does go against company policy, which is why she's never
But a ROM
condoned
hack is
piracy
not
nor
piracy,
streamed
apparently.
games.
So it's
this
okay.
comment, as well as Zion's answer, was cut out of a VOD on December 11th.
It was cut out.
Next, we
Okay,
have point
sure.
number 7. Oh man, there's so many of these. Comments that can be considered offensive
I feel like
to
this should
the
have been
rights
like
holder.
So far, I think they only got her on like 2 of these. Besides that, 2 out of 7 ain't good, my guy.
Of a game during a stream. Speculation had been running around that this was referring to comments that she had made about Raid Shadow Legends,
What
who
about
had and still continues to have sponsored streams with Nijisanji English, but is also, of course, a giant meme. Turns out it wasn't that game at all. No. This was referring to a stream where Zaion was playing Uno. Don't you have Uno? Ubisoft's multiple user interface.
Don't you guys have phones?
Results in it being incredibly difficult to change a username, so she criticized the game for not being user-friendly. And yes, once again, in this document, she continues to criticize the game for this very issue.
I mean, bro, I feel like you're in your right to do that. But at the same time, she works for a company, guys. Like, criticizing somebody that works with your company, especially when it involves sponsorships and money, yeah, that's not a good look at all, bro. Like, she basically is potentially messing up future investments and opportunities working with Raid and whoever the fuck else.
Which now begs the question if during this particular collab between Takanashi Kiara of Hololive English, whether the Nijisanji talents were sweating bullets, as during the collab, Uno was not playing nice and the group had to change over to Gartic Phone, leading to Kiara to voice off about the problems, the very well-known problems regarding this version of Uno. And now point 8, giving false. Hello again.
Basically, she so Uno, you can't change your name. And basically the reason why Zion got in trouble for Final Fantasy was using prior account and line, right? So now that the cat's out of the bag, hey, Uno is basically snitching. Like, the 3 of these, Nina, Rosemi, and Pomu technically should at least get a slap on the wrist, technically speaking, because they would be in violation of using past accounts, unless this is their first time playing Uno, I guess. So basically, she dry snitching.
Yeah. Information to other Nijisanji EN livers regarding the contents of her communications with Any Color Incorporated. This is only referring to a misunderstanding regarding Zion using her Genshin and other past life gacha accounts. Zion did not tell her genmates that, quote, she was told that using her old accounts would be okay. She merely told them that, quote, she was not told in the interview process that it was not okay. This was conveyed to...
Okay, if that's not in the interview process or the contract, if it's not in the contract, then Zion could definitely press charges. But if it's in the contract and it wasn't told to you during the interview, then that was a lapse of judgment on the interviewer. So they should definitely be looked at for accountability-wise. Like, hey, why didn't you tell her that she wasn't allowed to do this if it's in the contract? I feel like if you're getting interviewed for something like this big, where basically you have to change your lifestyle, you should definitely go over the contract with the person you're talking to. A lot of people are just excited to get the job, though, so I can see why they didn't do that.
Staff as well during their discussions about using past life game accounts. And Zion was not aware until receiving this cancellation notice that this misunderstanding existed. Again, we are given more insight into this cancellation notice document, apparently given to Zion upon her termination, referencing back on December 20th. In addition, you falsely told other members of your unit, XLA, that the use of your previous live account was permitted at the time of your employment interview.
Did she say that? Because if she didn't, then this is a reach. If she did say that, then okay, you got her.
So once again, a major misunderstanding on the part of Nijisanji,
Okay.
and perhaps on the part of the other Nijisanji livers
So
in
another reach.
XLA. As
Another
this
reach,
particular
huh?
point was brought
Okay.
up a few different times by the members of XLA and their streams regarding the Zaion LanZa termination. Next, we have number 9, falsely claiming to have received permission from Any Color Incorporated after a reviewer commented on Zaion performing an action prohibited by the rules. This may refer to Zaion opening her YouTube memberships after checking that all her membership perks were within the rulings of Nijisanji. She had gotten the emotes and badges approved by her manager and thus assumed that as long as her perks were also within ruling, she could activate them for Christmas for her fans after they had asked. She apologized to staff for not asking for their.
I'm so confused. Falsely claiming to have received permission after a viewer commented on Zion's performing an action prohibited by the. I just don't understand. Like, she has channel members, and I guess there's something like a new emote or a new GIF, and she said, "Okay, you guys can use the new emote." I guess I don't know, man. This sounds like BS.
So again, another point admitting that she had apologized, a reoccurring theme here, likely attempting to underscore that there was remorse on the part of these actions.
I feel like, bro, there needs to be a rule book of what you can and cannot do, and it should be publicly available. Just like Google it, Nijisanji.com, scroll down past talents, rules that our talents can and cannot do, so everybody knows. Everybody can say, hey, okay, I'm not going to ask this question in chat. It's in the rules. Or every streamer needs to have a thing where it says exclamation point rules, and it says verbatim, the Nijisanji guidelines. Jeez, I can't speak.
We also have point 10, falsely claiming to be sponsored by a brand during a stream. You are not going to believe this one. You simply will not believe this one. The Cats Organize Neatly stream that was done by Zaion had a running gag where she commissioned an artist to make her an asset of a bag of nuts labeled D's Nuts. Ha, got him. Many jokes were made over the stream, including, quote, "Oh boy, I really love D's Nuts," or, "Yeah, I've been supporting D's Nuts for a long time now," etc. And in actuality, she was not sponsored by the pre-existing D's Nuts brand that was not known to her existed when the asset was created. The document making some type of point here.
You know what the shitty part is? It's like, it's not a big deal, but because she works for a company, it is a big deal. That is literally the only issues with a lot of this. It's like a lot of this shit is a whatever situation. But because it's a big company, it's like, hey, we can't do this shit. Like, yeah, it's just hee ha ha memes and shit. But it's like, there is an actual company called D's Nuts Incorporated. And if they found out, they could definitely sue Nijisanji. They could have a case. Whether they win or not is whatever. The point is that they could have a case and they could take them to court and they might have to settle. Like, these are potential problems that Niji does not want to deal with. So overall, I want to say a lot of this is BS, but it makes sense to the fact that they're trying to avoid getting in trouble in the future. And it's like, Zaion really made, like, if I was going to say how much of this was actual infractions, like 2 or 3 of these are actual infractions. And the rest of these are like either a big reach from Niji or it's like it's BS, but I kind of understand where you're coming from. It sounds like it was basically so many little things added up. And it was like, bro, we just got to let you go, bro. We just got to let you go. You're doing too much. And this happened in the span of 3 months. Like, you're doing way too much, bro. You just gotta go.
Claiming to be sponsored is wrong because D's, with a Z, D's Nuts is not a brand. Nevertheless, she was asked by her manager to private the VOD for the reason that they felt that she was claiming to be sponsored by the D's Nuts company during this bit, and she apologized.
It's dumb, but it makes sense.
This is a
so there
real
it is.
Brand.
D's Nuts.
No, we have not seen any precedent that D's Nuts is going after people memeing about D's Nuts. Much Much in the same way that we are unaware of Ubisoft pulling permissions for those that may critique or criticize their games. But again, those are game permissions, an entirely different topic.
Yeah, it's a different topic.
Switching to light mode for a moment to show just a quick screen cap provided in the document from this stream. And back to dark mode we go with point number 11. Giving likes to comments falling under defamation of Nijisanji livers and any color incorporated using social media accounts that she personally operates. The document states, this is inaccurate in some capacity. Only one like was given on accident to a single tweet which Zaion liked on her private account during the time she was suspended in February.
The thing is, the private account is your old account. That's literally the only issue. If this was literally a burner and could not be traced back to you, this wouldn't even exist, bro. Because obviously Niji in any color gets, defamation all the time. People shit on Nijisanji left and right and center, right? But to have a liver like it, that is like, you don't do that. Because you're basically saying, yeah, the company's bad. Like, sure, everybody else can say the company's bad, but they could be just called haters. But you acknowledging it is, it's a no-go. It's a strike.
She was not aware that this had happened until it was mentioned to her. However, Zaion...
You shouldn't have used your prior account, bro. You should have just made a burner.
...does not excuse herself from this mistake. The like tweet was an image post of a crude meme created by
we saw the meme
in support of Zion's content style. But Zaion did not...
I think, honestly, Zion's content, from what I've seen, it doesn't seem like she has any malicious intent. She just keeps messing up in little ways, like not asking for permission. Literally, if you just asked for permission before you did a lot of this, she'd probably still be in the company, like the D's nuts shit. Hey, is it okay if I do this? And then just run it by them. Maybe they'll say yes, maybe they'll say no. That's literally it. She did stuff without asking. And when you work for a company, you gotta ask, bro. You're the property. You are the entertainment. You are the talent. You do not get a say. You have to ask, can you do this? Daddy, can I do this? Daddy, can I do that? That's what it's like. You gotta ask, bro. If they say no, they say no.
Like comments,
and then you try and communicate your point, like, hey, I really think it is a good idea because this, X, Y, Z. And if they still say no, well, then you don't do it, or you decide, hey, maybe this company's not right for me, and I'm thinking maybe I should just go. And you should talk to them behind the scenes and never publicly announce, hey, I'm thinking about leaving. You just talk behind the scenes to company and the management like, hey, I really want to do this. And if you guys aren't willing to let me express my creativity, then I don't think we're going to be able to be working together. We're not going to be able to work together as partners. Just like that. And if you say that to them, they might start reconsidering like, okay, maybe we should all right, let's go ahead and look at, if somebody has a reasonable head on their shoulders in Niji management, they would say, okay, let's actually look at it then. Let's actually give it a chance. Let's look at it. And if they have a head up their ass, they're just going to say, well, then you should just go. And that's called an ego. And ego usually sinks the ship.
Negative statements due to the harassment, and the document is clear. She means death threats and doxing caused by the suspension announcement. Zaion overlooked her accidentally giving a like to the image. Zaion apologized to staff profusely for this mistake and strongly tried to emphasize it was not her intention to do so. And very lastly, for the last point, number 12. That's right, it was a full dozen from Nijisanji. Numerous other actions and comments infringing the contracts and rules.
They basically just said, hey, you did a lot of other stuff. We're not going to specifically name it, and we're just going to put it in one bullet point. Hey, you did some other stuff. Bam, there it is.
Zaion simply responding, this statement is too vague to comment upon, as there are no specifics that can be mentioned. However, it suggests that Zaion committed other wrongdoing.
And I honestly don't doubt it, because like I said, it's just you didn't ask for permission. That's literally it. And like a lot of this was, if you just asked before you did it, you would have been fine.
And continues on with their important conclusion. In their last call between Zaion and Nijisanji, Zaion begged for them to consider a more professional approach to future commentary between the two sides. To this, Nijisanji refused, stating they, quote-unquote, needed to protect their brand. Some of the allegations written are untrue or
It is true they need to protect their brand, but definitely doing it like this, I mean, I really, overall, I would say, let's just look at how it's affected Nijisanji. Nijisanji's been going downhill a lot, and they have been messing up a lot. And there definitely is a communication issue. I don't know whether it's on management side or what. We don't know because there's no accountability. We don't know who these people are. They're just shadows in the background doing whatever they want. And they basically dictate what they do based off what the investors say. If the investors say, hey, we want this to happen, there it is. Like, we want to focus on Luxium, there it is. So it's definitely a big mess up in everybody's situation. Seiyu because she didn't ask for permission before she did a lot of this. Nijisanji because basically they're just trying to get rid of her, and they don't care how many bridges they burn or whatever they have to do. As long as she gets out the door, they can say sorry to the community later and try and fix it later. They basically kick the can down the road instead of trying to figure out what's going on. So what was happening in February? What happened? XLA launched, and then what? What happened to where all this shit had to happen?
Contextualized, which negatively impacted Zaion's character. Zaion agrees with the decisions. She did make mistakes and agreed that separation was appropriate for both sides, saying further, I believe that there were a lot of things provided without proper context that negatively impacted her character. In the end, Zaion wishes things could have gone differently. Some Nijisanji members have spoken about Zaion's termination, and she wishes to avoid giving context on that here, as she does not wish to direct harassment towards anyone else. That aside, Zaion sees this as a huge learning experience and sincerely hopes everyone can move on from this chapter. The second part of this document goes on to document Zaion's first involvement with Nijisanji to her last, asking, I want to ask everyone to put themselves in Zaion's shoes for a moment in the present. As a content creator who has been doing this full time for over a year, way before joining Nijisanji, it's hard going about your day, supporting your friends on Twitter multiple times every single day and reading their content as you used to. Then, with the suspensions and termination happening, you're told you must obey the silencing contract. But what this results in is suddenly being blocked or unfollowed by several people who you have considered to be your friends or who you've cared deeply for.
And this is where I say, who cares? Who fucking cares? Dude, follows do not mean friends. You follow someone on Twitter, they look at your posts, they follow you back. That does not make you friends. And even if you have DMs and you talk all the time, does not mean you're friends. If you really are friends with somebody, you could literally have a talk about personal things with them. Not just, how was your day? Oh, it was good. If you say, how are you really feeling? And if they talk to you and you guys talk on the phone for over like an hour, then I think you could be like, okay, we have some type of attachment because we just talked about personal shit for an hour. Maybe you even cried together. That's the only way I could ever see someone being like, yeah, we're friends and we've never met each other. Like, you guys have to have a deep talks. And if you have had these deep talks and they did unfollow you, doesn't necessarily mean you're not friends anymore. It just means they're probably tired of seeing your shit. Literally, I have friends online that be posting some annoying shit and I unfollow them. And it's just like, bro, I'm unfollowing you because you keep posting shit I don't want to see. That's literally it. That's literally it. We still homies, we still cool, but people treat the follow button like a friendship button, and that's not how it is. People be on the internet too long. As a content creator, she's been doing this for 1 year. I've been doing this shit for like 14 years, almost 15 years. I'm old as shit, right? I've been doing this for a long, long time. Follows don't mean shit. Likes, kind of, sort of. Like the video. Retweets, those mean a lot more because it's like, hey, I agree with this person is saying and I'm going to say it. But follows don't mean shit. You get a follow and then they never interact with you. What's that mean? It don't mean shit. It just means they see what you're doing. Congratulations.
For a long time. People who knew her as a person and still cared for her in return are even harassed for caring for their friend. Zaion became increasingly afraid of hurting the few friends she had left and avoided many of them completely. She still doesn't know how some friends feel about her now. She still lives in a constant fear of making everyone feel uncomfortable just by being around them.
And this sounds like a personal problem, bro. It sounds like you're too much on the internet. Like, bro, where are your IRL friends? Why don't you go out to the bar, go out to the club, like, go to the park, like, do something else besides talking to internet people. That's the issue. You're just on the internet all fucking day. And you're like, oh, I can't be around my internet friends. I'm going to make them uncomfortable. Do you know that? Did you call them? Did you talk to them? No, you're avoiding talking to them. Well, if you avoid talking to people, how long do you think you can avoid talking to a friend online, an online friend, before you guys are like not really friends anymore? Like I said, if you guys aren't having deep talks, there's no way you could really go like weeks, months without talking to somebody online and it'd be like, yeah, we're cool. We're friends. Like maybe you're homies, associates, but friends, that's a strong word, bro. Friends is a very strong word.
Zaion was someone who was always incredibly excited to spend time with her friends IRL at cons and would go out of her way to do so. The constant cycle
So why'd you
of
stop?
guilt and trauma drove Zaion to a very dark place and still does. There
Guilt
were people
and
that she
trauma.
trusted and told her struggles to. Some understood, and some understood this as her gaslighting or guilting them when she confided in them. It's true that most of them didn't really know Zaion as a person, but
Bro, like they didn't really know you. And like even though you think you're close to them, it might be a parasocial relationship. You feel like you're close to these people because maybe you work together or you see each other sometimes for these cons. But it doesn't mean anything, bro. It doesn't mean anything. It feels like I shouldn't have to tell you that. I feel like this is common sense, bro.
it's not fair that the simple way they knew her is now forcefully replaced by this storm of complicated and strong words that don't actually have her in them. It goes without saying that the characters we play online aren't the full us. You
Of
can't
course
assume
not.
how bad someone feels, how sad they are, just because they play a happy character online. Seiyu/Zaion says, just speaking for myself, what banner I'm under or what character I play never changed my own style. I did read as
And it should have, because as soon as you signed up to a corporation, you should have known that your indie antics of being edgy and dark, it can only take you so far in a company because a company just wants to have money. They just want a good image to get money. Like everybody started slowing down. Like Mista, he slowed down being saying dark humor. Albin slowed down. Like everybody's slowing down with the dark humor because it doesn't make money. Let's just keep it real. It doesn't make money. Companies care about a good image. And as much as I love the dark humor and the dark comedy, and I don't care about it, investors do. And investors are old as shit and they think they know everything because they have money. They really don't. So
much as I could about what everyone was saying, be it on YouTube news videos, various posts on Twitter, posts on my YouTube account, or yes, even DMs sent to my Twitter. I want to make it known that I read every Twitter DM and just about every YouTube comment.
And that's the problem, bro. You're reading all these fucking comments from people you don't even know. Bro, take your ass outside or take your ass to a therapist, bro.
For everything Zaion
Twitter DMs and messages, bro. That's just going to make you go crazy because for every 5 comments you'll read saying you're great, you're going to read one comment that says you're a piece of shit human being. And guess what? You're going to side with that one comment versus the 5 that said you were great because that's how our brains are wired.
Like a failure. She felt like her dream and who she was at her core was now ruined.
Bro, you're not a failure because you get fired from a job, bro. Even if it's a job you really liked and you really loved, even though you think it was a dream job, bro, you're not a failure. Just a human. Fuck up. All humans fuck up.
Because of this experience, she did desire to end her own life.
Why? This is like, I hate hearing that you're gonna kill yourself because you're getting fucking like hit online by people that you don't even know and they don't know you. Like, bro, fuck them losers. Hit the block button. Use the block button. Don't engage with them. Don't rile them up. Don't feed the trolls. Like, I mean, like, maybe I'm out of touch. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm the guy that's like, oh, he doesn't know. He doesn't understand. Like, maybe I don't because I don't really use the internet like that. Like, I be posting shit here and there. I'm trying to stay hip with the kids, but I can't keep up with y'all. Y'all on Twitter all day, every day, posting something all day. Bro, I cannot keep up with that. I can't. I try to, bro. I just can't do it. So maybe that's where I'm fucking up. I'm not in your shoes. I don't know what it's like. But, bro, get off the internet.
Every kind message pulled her back from the brink. Without all of you, a person would no longer exist. Some of her stories will be omitted for legal reasons. Please respect this. We then began the timeline proper regarding the August Nijisanji interview, wherein Zaion, or at the time not yet Zaion, was asked about her current monthly income. Document stating, when I received the first email asking me to interview with Nijisanji, I confirmed a time slot that they had already listed as an offer and waited. However, I realized that the day of that I still didn't have a link to the online interview call. Their email had stated it would be with Microsoft Teams. So exactly 4 minutes before I was meant to be on the call, I messaged them again to ask for the meeting link. And 2 minutes after the confirmed meeting time, they sent me a new email with the link. The interview itself felt fine. There were 2 people on the call. It felt like they were asking me questions based on the answers I gave, which made me feel like they were listening and did care about the person I was. There wasn't any information told to me regarding specifics of their company, like how they ran things differently from other VTuber or talent agencies. Things like being able to use my current social media or streaming accounts forever versus simply for a short amount of time, being unable to use any current game accounts or allowing certain ones, etc., etc. None of that was included in the interview. It was a simple interview.
Okay, so basically that's a mess up on them, because if you're going to be interviewing somebody for a position where they basically have to change their identity, you have to be specific. This ain't working at fucking Walmart, okay? This is you hiding what your real name is, what your face is, and your past life is. This is not a normal job or a normal career. So yeah, I would want the interview process to be as deep and as detailed as possible. Even run some fucking background checks if that's what you gotta do. Y'all gotta be 100% with this stuff.
What was interesting came at the very end, though. I had mentioned that I previously had a job at a tech company. One of the interviewers, who hadn't said a single thing until then, asked me in Japanese how much I used to make as an independent streamer. I told him how much from subscriptions, sponsorships, etc., and he responded with, Then immediately following that, he asked how much I used to make at my tech job. I answered that I actually made less than I currently did as a streamer. He gave me the same, and then said he had no further questions. I thought, well, if they're gonna ask questions like that, then I'll ask one that I wasn't sure if I could ask. And I asked, quote, do you guys have a monthly salary or minimum per month that you pay to your talents? The interviewer answered, no, but I can tell you that if you sign under us that you'll make more than you're making right now. I'll never forget that, but at the time...
Bro... I'm not gonna lie, bro. I mean, I'm an adult, right? I've signed one of the worst contracts ever, bro. Look, if a motherfucker tells me that, hey, we ain't got no monthly salary, bitch, I'm gone. The fuck kind of question? Like, you don't get paid like, I would go into okay, I'm gonna make more money than I do now. Okay, how? Oh, so when do I get paid? Is it once a week, twice a week? I need to know, bitch. Like, why the fuck would you sign a contract and you don't know how much you're gonna get paid and when you're gonna get paid? Like, this is some kindergarten shit.
The compensation structure was not discussed.
Why not?
To the 21st of August.
Trust us, bro. Literally, someone in the chat, trust us, bro. Like, what the fuck?
Through to the final interview with the CEO. Any color only has one CEO. So we are assuming that it is the man himself. This was the only time in the entire time I had been there that I would get to even see his presence in my or the talent's vicinity, let alone speak with him. He asked questions that I thought were very good and well thought out. Things such as, what kind of character do you want to play? To which I answered, I'm usually the anti-hero. I like saying things that make people laugh or surprise or shock them. I love getting reactions out of people. He also asked how much I wish to act for my future character on stream. I said that depends on how much content the company and I end up expecting of myself. If I do shorter hours per day, then of course that makes it easier to keep up a persona further from myself. If I do longer hours like I'm used to doing, however, then it would be easier if I was just being more myself. Again, nothing regarding how they ran the company or what they expected me to give up was mentioned. Moving forward, we have the...
I feel like a little bit of it needs to be your own research, right? Because you joined XLA, what is that, like the 6th or 7th wave, 6th or 7th? Whatever. It's later, bro. Like, you still had Luxium to look at, Etheria to look at, Illuna to look, like, you had all these other gens to look at. Like, Kyo Kaneko, bro. Like, look at Kel. He just doing whatever. He's being him. I don't even see him as a little blue boy or big blue boy or whatever. Like, he's just a guy. He's just chilling. Versus everybody else. Everybody's pretty much chilling except Doppio. I think Doppio's the only one that's actually crazy. Or maybe he's the only one actually sane.
In which a debut song is asked to be fully recorded before even hearing Jinmate's voices. Fast forward to October. They messaged me back saying that the debut song for my generation was ready. They requested that I record my lines and turn them in within a week. This was
okay, so there it is. Confirmation that they don't make the debut music is made by Nijisanji. Okay, that was interesting because Celine dropped a new song. I liked it, but I was like, oh my God, please don't be bad, because I didn't know if like how much they made the debut songs, but apparently they just read the lines and that's it. They don't come up with the lyrics or nothing.
It would be our most important song, yet at this point, I had not even met my Jin mates or known what they sounded like. I asked them to push the deadline back because I would be gone at TwitchCon. The new due date turned out to be after I would hear my Jin mates' voices for the first time.
So she basically already had the job, right? If you already had the job and you're like trying to push the due date back because I'm gonna be at TwitchCon, shouldn't they have said no because now you work for them?
But that was all the knowledge I'd have. After I submitted my recordings, they messaged me back saying the producer said my recordings were no good. NG, no good.
Well, damn.
Background noise, and that I would need to go to an actual studio to record my lines or clean them up. So I asked a friend who dabbles in DJing as a hobby to clean up the same audio files for me and submitted them again. At this point, I received no more updates on the song, so I assumed they were fine. And next, we're in November. Debut planning, organizing, and managing. Around the end of October is when we finally were able to start planning for our debuts. I had experience debuting as a VTuber for my own activities, so I was familiar with all the elements needed and how to manage planning with all the different people I'd worked with. Regarding the question of what was needed for the debut and subsequent streaming activities, the managers informed that, quote, nothing is really required. It's up to you how much or how little you want to have for it. So again, in review, the managers, plural, with Nijisanji said, nothing is required. It's up to you. Zaion then saying, I personally incurred the cost of planning a successful debut. Our lore was written by ourselves. I had to find people who had the skill sets needed for the graphics.
Bro, they are really hands off, huh? They say, hey, man, you're part of the company, but you got to figure this out. By the way, you debut in a week. Good luck.
In animations myself.
Like, damn.
Pay for them myself. By the time we debuted, I was already hugely in the red in order to plan and execute a debut befitting of a talent of such a big company. So to our understanding from this statement, no budget of any kind was provided to the livers for their debuts.
And she didn't get paid.
And we are very aware that is a common occurrence of giving debut talents some form of budget. Next, we have meeting the other Niji-en livers. Zaion saying they were incredibly kind, considerate, and immediately included us and made us feel like one of them. I will never forget their kindness and how much effort they put into being there for us and each other. Unfortunately, things did change as time went on, but that was not until the very end.
Okay. We're going to skip ahead to the New Year's suspension. That was the first suspension.
We now move into the New Year's suspension, this being from December 31st.
So what did you do to get suspended?
Demanding a 2-week break so early into me being here was way too long and detrimental. Even as an indie, the longest break I had taken was maybe 1.5 weeks. So during the call in which I was told of my forced suspension, I begged my manager's manager and asked if we could please reduce it to 1.5 weeks. He thought for a moment and said, quote, can you really come to a serious decision within that time of whether or not I wanted to stay in Nijisanji? And I said yes, because even before this call, I had already been thinking about this since debut. I know he was trying to pressure me into agreeing to 2 weeks, but after working so hard on my own for over a year, I knew how breaks go. You get used to doing nothing and you get lazy. I wouldn't let myself get into such a habit after all the struggle. Finally, he acquiesced. At the end of the call, my manager's manager asked me what I'm going to tell my fans. This was asked in a manner that made me feel pressured to say oh, I'm just going to say that my family asked me to come on a last-minute holiday trip. Because of what happened with a prior graduation in the company, I had already been told by my senpais that oftentimes suspensions would be disguised as breaks by the talents. Now I understand why. Many speculations as to just what talents that is referring to. Feel free to leave a comment about who you think that was referring to in the comments below if you'd like. So yes, at this point, we have the talent here in Nijisanji telling their manager's manager about the effective lie that they will be telling their fans in regards to an upcoming suspension that they'll...
Bro, her releasing all of this is honestly insane, bro. Like, to tell all the secrets, bro, give out all the sauce, bro, from the interview to the quiet suspension to the, like, bro.
Be actually saying is a last-minute holiday trip
is crazy,
with her family. The document continues. So the New Year's countdown that I promised my fans, of course, could no longer happen, and I told them that my family rarely does anything out of town, so I had to go on this last-minute trip, that I would be gone from the 30th and return on the 10th. That never happened. I just stayed at home and tried to see if there were any IRL.
I would have at least actually gone to some New Year's shit with my family, bro. I would have at least did some shit
elsewhere,
like
weren't too busy.
Yeah.
At the same time, Haku, one of my two cats, 4 years old, was suffering from a liver disease that required me to feed him every few hours. So it would morbidly work out that I had the time to take care of him. However, it was incredibly expensive, and even now, I'm still trying to pay off the incurred bills. Next section, trying to lay low. Upon
Animals
returning,
are a big responsibility.
Down the creative ideas a notch. In an attempt to reduce the risk of breaking any more rules, I only streamed games because I knew which had confirmed permissions for sure. No just chatting or creative streams, at least for a while. That was the plan, and I stuck to it. Trigger warning, we have a pet death, as here we have on February 7th of this year. Haku.
All right, the ending. Let's fast forward.
History saw value in someone like me at all. Thank you for reading. I've learned a lot from this and hope we can close out this chapter here. Trigger warning, last picture with Haku below, and Sayu/Zaion would then provide a picture of her holding the paw of her now deceased pet. So there we have it, the words of Zaion LanZa regarding her termination, now confirming and revealing many points about Nijisanji, such as playing a Wave Mates song.
Yeah, okay, so overall, I'm gonna say overall, it was honestly it's just a lot of mistakes and not asking for permission. I feel like a lot of this could have been handled better on both sides, the staff side and Seiyu side, Zion side. And honestly, I could see why she's still upset about it. But girl, you gotta move on. Like, yeah, this was a lot of shit that happened to you. And it was definitely traumatic. But bro, it was such a small amount of time. It was a small amount of time, bro. I think you got away from it relatively okay. Like, yeah, your name is damaged. But it's good that you release this to have your side of the story. I don't think Nietzsche will ever say anything about it, but what I saw yesterday when you were saying you got backstabbed and this and that, bro, I think that's adding fuel to the fire, because this was relatively humble, like, hey, this is my point of view, this is what I think happened, blah, 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 and now it's becoming more malicious. So be careful with that and watch what contracts you sign, guys. I know you guys might be excited for a cool new job or a new promotion. Read the contract, bro. Just read it. Just read it. Just read it, bro. Anyways, I'll see you guys on the next one. That was very interesting to hear. And I think I got a bit a new perspective. Not really a new perspective, but it's interesting to hear about these silent breaks and suspensions and shit. But yeah, it's your boy. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Overall, it's pretty dark. It's pretty deep. But at the end of the day, that's the shit that happens when you sign contracts, man. Y'all got to be careful what y'all sign. All right, I'm out.